Thank you for joining us today, Holy Week, on Tuesday. We're going to be spending some time together looking at a meditation, and it's based on Mark's Gospel, chapter 12, verses 41 to 44, called the Two Small Coins. Otherwise, I think we know it as the Widow's Mite. I'm going to look at the Bible passage, unpick it a little bit, and I'll look at some mindful ways in which we can appropriate some of the lessons and some of the really good things that can come out of studying a piece of scripture like this. Okay, so Mark's Gospel, chapter 12. He sat down opposite the treasury and watched the crowd putting money into the treasury. Many rich people put large sums. A poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which are worth a penny. Then he called his disciples and said to them, "Truly I tell you that this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the treasury. For all of them have contributed out of their abundance, but she out of her poverty has put in everything she had, all that she had to live on." Now, it's one of the popular complaints about the church that it's always about trying to get people's money. I mean, obviously there's certain attention focused on fundraising and charitable giving and all that kind of stuff. And the stuff about how much you should give, and it's not really what I want to be focusing on today, actually. Things were no different in Jesus' time. And Jesus' comments are sharp and to the point. But it's something about having or practicing a gift of generosity. It's not about giving some things to God. It's about being thankful to God for all that we have and offering it back to Him. So the 2 small coins that the widow in Mark 12, why they are so special and infinitely precious to God is because she's made over all her wealth to the one who first bestowed it on her. And she didn't just keep a lot back for herself. So it's not about that we give all our money, it's something about we give all our lives back to God, the way that we honour Him, not just say on a Sunday morning or occasionally giving it to somebody in the street or whatever. But Mondays to Saturdays, our activities, our leisure, the lives that we lead, bearing witness to God's love for us and how we respond to that love. In mindfulness, we talk about living in the moment by rejoicing in every instant of life that's been given to us, and thereby we can honour our Creator God. And by celebrating these small happinesses that occur in our lives, we can focus on the glory moments. And by looking at the positive, beneficial aspects of gratitude, it helps us increase our ways of resilience and being able to cope with some of the difficulties that might come our way. So, this wonderful widow and her 2 small coins. She practiced a very practical kind of gratitude, financial gratitude, but everything that she had, she gave it to God. And there's something about gratitude that is a really, really helpful and positive psychological impact that it has upon us. And I teach mindfulness, or introductions to mindfulness, to children and to adults. And one of the things that we find really helpful is what we call a gratitude intervention, where we look at all the things in our lives in the moment where we are right now that we can give thanks for. And when we do this positive emotional response to what's around us, it has a very practical and psychological effect upon the brain. And not to get too technical, but when we practice gratitude, when we count our blessings, there's chemicals called dopamine and serotonin that are released in our brain that are like neurotransmitters, like chemical messengers really, and they enhance our mood almost immediately. they change our emotion, and we end up with a positive emotional response. So when we practice gratitude, it has a fantastic effect upon us. And for me, that always, if you like, links back to how God created us, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And there are things within our own abilities that we can actually do that will enhance our emotions and our ability to cope with difficulties. So it's about giving thanks. And all the way through scriptures, we have fantastic phrases like, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. His love endures forever. And then there's a lovely place in the book, Paul's book, Letter to the Colossians, and the church at Colossae. And he says, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. And then later he said, and be thankful. Being thankful and having peace can go together. And certainly at this time in our global situation, where we look at the news and we look at our Facebook posts, and we hear stories very close to home where things are so difficult and we're really struggling. And on this particular week of Holy Week, when we're thinking of Jesus facing all the struggles ahead, I think it's really helpful for us to try and be very present in the moment, not to seek too far ahead of the difficulties that we might face ahead, but actually give thanks for the things that are around us. And those releases of those neurotransmitters, if you like, enable us to have the power and the strength and the ability to cope with what we will find ourselves in day after day. Jesus talks about just worry about today, don't worry about tomorrow, just concentrate on the day. And so the exercise, which I think is a really helpful one, and it's really positive, it really works very well. And it says here, set yourself a target of recording in words or pictures a happy moment every day. Sometimes I will set it as a weekly task to families and things, and we say, look, try and think about 3 things or 5 things each day that you give thanks for. And perhaps while we're going through this period of massive uncertainty and difficulty, this may be something that you'll find help us to cope. Now these moments, these things we give thanks for, can be very small or they can be really important ones. It can be having our favourite food, or it can be just a really lovely smile. It can be seeing something really great on the telly, or it can be just noticing how the buds are coming out and the blossom is just starting to just explode everywhere, like candy tufts all over. Or it might be hearing some bird song. Last night I was quite close to the window and I heard the barn owl for the first time in ages, and it was just so special to hear that connection with nature. So here's our task: to try and give thanks, writing it down, putting it in a picture, or capturing it somewhere. And even in times, it says here, of great struggle or sadness, beauty or joy can be found in the song of a bird, the warmth of the sunshine on the face, or the comfort of a nice hot cup of tea. Your moments don't have to be widely varied, but try and record them every day, for every moment is individual and precious. And then at the end of the project, perhaps at the end of whatever time you set yourself, spend some time looking back over these particular moments and give thanks to God for his gifts, even at a time such as this. So tomorrow night I'll be doing another meditation, Holy Week Wednesday, so it'd be great if you could join me then. Take care, God bless. Amen.